in particular their suggestions around facilitation and technical ways of achieving a soft border and one that does not require a backstop. And would she agree with me that the independent arbitration panel is bound to find that if the EU does not negotiate the future arrangement with that in mind, it is likely to be found to have acted in bad faith?
Well, indeed, and that is the point of the best endeavours and good faith references that there are within the document. I think crucial, and actually may I first say that this, I think, is the first opportunity I have in this chamber to say a heartfelt thank you to my honourable friend for the work he did for the commemorations of the armistice and the centenary of the First World War. I think he can be truly proud of all the events that took place. But he also referenced the issue of alternative arrangements for the border in Northern Ireland. One of the changes that have taken place recently that we got into the protocol, into the joint statement in relation to this backstop issue, is precisely this ability to look at alternative arrangements rather than just the binary choice of the future relationship coming into place or the backstop coming into place. We've of course got the extension of the implementation period as an option, but what is also important is that if the future framework is not in place, it is possible to have alternative arrangements for the border which satisfy the requirement we all have and the desire we all have to ensure that there's no hard border between Northern Ireland and Ireland.
Mike Gapes.
Mr. Speaker, at previous times in our history with national crises, we've come together on both sides of the House to resolve those crises. The Prime Minister has made clear that she will not support the extension of Article 50. She said we will be leaving the European Union regardless in March next year, and she's also ruled out a people's vote. Isn't it time she recognised reality and, after all her prodigious efforts, stood aside for someone else who could take this country forward in a united way?
No.
Adam Holloway.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the Prime Minister feel she's listened to her officials while sidelining her Brexit secretaries, and is she now disobeying the instruction of my constituents in Gravesham?
I have to say to my honourable friend the answer to both of his questions is no. I have worked with Brexit secretaries and obviously with officials, with the negotiating team throughout this process, and I believe the deal that we're proposing does deliver on the instruction of the British people.
Dr. Lisa Cameron.
Thanks, Mr. Speaker. As a psychologist, it's clear to me today that the Prime Minister is in denial. However pragmatically agreed this deal has been, it doesn't command a majority in this House. If she believes in her deal and she wants to give back control, will she put it to the people?
I refer the Honourable Lady to the answer I've given earlier on that question.
Mr. Philip Dunn.
Millions of people up and down this country and tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of businesses want this House to get on with it. Could I say to my right honourable friend, as she looks to develop the future framework, I recognise that we will remain within the EU procurement rules during the course of the implementation period. The Future Framework Protocol refers to mutual opportunities to go beyond the WTO government procurement agreement. Could she give some indication to the House as to whether that will include taking back control of our own procurement in this country?
Yes, we're developing a framework for our own procurement arrangements.
Rachel Maskell.
Mr. Speaker, in the light that a no deal will be a disaster for our nation, and in the high probability that this deal will not be passed by this House, will the Prime Minister make it her first step to extend Article 50 to ensure that we don't fall off a cliff edge?
Absolutely.
No, the government has made clear that we will not be extending Article 50.
Martin Vickers.
Mr. Speaker, the draft agreement states that under no circumstances may the United Kingdom apply to its customs territory a customs tariff which is lower than the common customs tariff for any good or import from a third country. Would my right honourable friend agree that that is a severe limitation on our sovereignty and will limit the opportunities that Brexit offers?
Well, can I say to my honourable friend that what he is talking about is the circumstances in which the backstop on the UK-wide customs territory has come into place. As I've said earlier, that is not a situation that either side wants to see happen, and even in the circumstances where the future relationship is not in place at the end of December 2020, it is not necessarily the case that that backstop would come into place. If we look at the future relationship, he will see that there is a specific reference to the independent trade policy